Queensland and federal governments are at odds over medical advice after a cluster of allergic reactions to the AstraZeneca vaccine. Anna Rawlings joins us live from State Parliament in Brisbane. Anna, good morning. What's changed?
Well, Pete, the health advice from the Queensland Government has changed. That's after a meeting of the nation's chief health officers in Canberra overnight. Of course, yesterday morning we saw the Health Minister and the Director of Queensland Health stand up. They were telling Queenslanders if they are susceptible to severe allergic reactions or to anaphylaxis, then to hold off getting the COVID jab after 4 patients suffered adverse reactions in 48 hours. We then saw a few hours later the federal government dial that back. They say that no, you can still go and get the jab, even if you are susceptible to that, but the monitoring time, that's what is going to be different. So instead of being monitored for 15 minutes, you will be monitored for 30 minutes. Of course, there was concern over the potential problem with this batch after those adverse reactions in Queensland. We heard from the TGA, though. They say that's not the case.
This has nothing to do with COVID vaccines specifically. We've had 14 of those following the Pfizer in Australia and 5 following the AstraZeneca vaccine. So there appears to have been a cluster in Queensland, and again, clusters happen, and it's not necessarily something special about Queensland. Now, we've looked at that batch of vaccine. That batch of vaccine that's being used in Queensland has actually been administered right across the country, and yet we've only had one other possible case of anaphylaxis elsewhere in the country.
Now, this is the 4th week of the overall vaccine rollout in Queensland. We did see a Gold Coast nurse have an adverse reaction to the Pfizer vaccine in the initial stages of that rollout. It is the 2nd week of the AstraZeneca vaccine. But we did also hear from the Australian Medical Association a short time ago on Sky News saying that there is no need for people to be concerned, just to listen to the overarching medical advice.
Oh, look, I think we just need to stick with the independent advisors, which is the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and also ATAGI, which is the main vaccination group giving advice on this. It's very difficult when there's varying advice because everybody's anxious at the moment. We're attributing everything to the vaccine at the moment. What we need is a relative level of calm and look at the bigger picture.
And Pete, a key piece of advice also from the AMA, if you have any concerns, any doubts, you feel you may be susceptible to an allergic reaction, the best thing you can do is have a chat with your GP when you are going to get vaccinated.
Anna Rawlings live in Brisbane. Thanks, Anna.